Welcome back to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at The Life of Pi, chapter 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I feel like I finally caught on to the secret of how this book is organized. So, chapter 14 starts off with finishing this part about taming creatures, especially lions, and being a lion tamer and things like that. Talk about this animal zoo world. And this last piece, 14, talks about a lion tamer. When it has a group of lions, it chooses the lowest ranking lion. Just think of like your society. Maybe you're the president and the government, and then the workers, and then maybe children here at the bottom. Okay, it's like a pyramid. In the animal kingdom, that's the same. For monkeys, there's like a lead monkey, and there's the monkey's wives or girlfriends, and then there's those children of those monkeys, and then there's like the uncles and things like that, and then there's the other people and other people. So in almost every high social order, okay, like ants, right, bees, things like that, monkeys, lions, there's a hierarchy. So when a lion tamer finds the lowest lion on this scale, the lowest one, and that lion becomes the highest lion or the closest one to the lion tamer, because the lion tamer is the super alpha, the super king. And when the lion tamer chooses the lowest one to go up, that lion then becomes the high one. It gets meat first. It gets the most space. It gets the cleanest hay, things like that. Because it's relationship. So that lion really obeys well because it likes its position. It's kind of what chapter 14 is all about. Now, chapter 15, we pull out of Pi's childhood back to the present, where the author is interviewing Pi, and it's all in italics, and he's talking about Pi has religious symbols everywhere. He has Muslim symbols, he has Hindu symbols, he has Christian symbols, probably other ones all over his house. So it's hard to figure out what he believes, but there are these religious symbols everywhere. Okay, now we're gonna shift and change the story topic to religion. So the next topic that he goes into is about Pi, and Pi is saying, man, I was born and bred Hindu. I just came into life in a Hindu family. I went through all the Hindu prayers and systems and everything. And he talks about a little bit like Krishna and Brahman. Brahman is like the world soul. It's like everything that's going on, that's all connected together. And in his opinion, he believes it's all connected. Like everything we do, everything we are is connected to the world soul and our soul. And even religion. And there's this funny part at the end of chapter 16. I want to read it here. I lost my page. But when Pi gets older and he's in Toronto, he has an aunt. It's not a real aunt, but it's some lady taking care of him, who he calls Auntie, or he actually calls her Auntie G. Okay, which is a lady that he lives with, maybe her and her husband or something like that. They're taking care of him, and he tells her, "I'm a Hare Krishna." Okay, Hare Krishna is a kind of Hindu, but she heard Hare Christian. So hairless, hairless Christian. And so for several years, she thought that Pi was a hairless Christian. That's what he called himself, a hairless Christian. And he connects this, and we're going to see this in the next few chapters. He says, well, I'm not a hairless Christian. I'm Hare Krishna, but you're kind of correct. He says, when I corrected her, I told her that, in fact, she was not wrong, that Hindus, in their capacity for love, are indeed hairless Christians, just as Muslims, in the way they see God in everything, are bearded Hindus. And Christians, in their devotion to God, are hat-wearing Muslims. So he's saying each of these religions has a key piece that the other one follows, and they're all very similar, just a little different. So we see that in his journey. So he's a Hindu, but in chapter 17, he feels, I think it's, he says Krishna directs him to meet Jesus Christ. And how does he meet Jesus? Well, he goes on a trip with his dad. While he's on this trip in the city, he sees this really beautiful Catholic church and he's curious about it. He wants to go inside, but he's a little scared. He finally goes inside. He meets the priest and he's trying to understand Christianity, or especially the Catholic version of Christianity. And this priest is just sharing all this stuff about the story of Jesus. And Pi's like, what? Your God died? Your God got hurt? Like, what? I don't get it. What is this about? And the priest just says, it's because of love. It's because of love. It's because of love. And Pi keeps coming back until finally, at the last day, the last hour, the last moment, he says, Father, I want to be a Christian too. And he says, guess what? You already are. Let's pray together. Something like that. And so Pi becomes a Christian. A few years later, Pi's walking around and he's walking by a mosque, right? Islam mosque. And he goes inside. There's no one there. There's some special bread. And he wants to try and taste some. He's looking around. No one's there. And he grabs it. And right next to him, he didn't even see, there's one of the priests there, or the teachers. I can't remember what they're called. And he says, oh, don't be afraid. You can eat the bread. And Pi's like, oh man. He gets so freaked out. He says, no, it's okay. Go ahead and eat the bread. And so he kind of takes it. I think he eats it, but he just talks with this teacher. And while they're talking, the bells ring for the prayer. And he says, one moment. He gets down, he does his prayers, and then he resumes conversation. And there's something that really strikes Pi in this experience to where he also becomes Muslim. So he's a Hindu, Christian, a Muslim guy. That leaves us with vocabulary. Cantankerous. Cantankerous is grumpy. And we actually have another word here, which also means cantankerous, which also means grumpy, is upset, cranky, not friendly. Strenuous. Strenuous is something that you're putting a lot of effort into. It's taking a lot of energy to do it. Walking through mud is strenuous, right? Walking through the ocean water is strenuous. Okay, something like that. Lethargy. Lethargy is like fatigue. You can think of like a sloth, okay? A sloth, it just has this, everything I do, there's tiredness in it, okay? Maybe after working for a long day, you get home and you're you're just tired. You have this lack of energy in you. This is lethargy. Unremittingly is not stopping, constant, continually, always. Serene, peaceful, serene. Defiler. Defile means to make dirty or to spoil, or especially in a religious way. Maybe I have some holy cup, okay? God touched this cup, or an angel, or a spirit, or whatever. And this cup is so special. And then one day someone comes in, they take the cup, they pour some beer in there, and they drink the cup. They're like, yeah, this cup is great. It's wonderful for my beer. And the religious people are like, that's our special holy cup. They defiled it. They made it dirty. So we can also say they spoiled it, or like a spoiler. Defiler, spoiler. Tantamount. Tantamount means identical, same, equal. Deportment. This means behavior, or the manner, or the way that you act. So this Catholic priest is telling these stories about Jesus, Pi can't understand the deportment of Jesus, the behavior of Jesus, the actions of Jesus. And he's like, man, Krishna did this, and this guy did this, and these stories are like this. I can understand that. But Jesus did this behavior, this action, hard for him to understand. Indignant is outrage, this righteous anger, this passionate anger for maybe even a good reason. Just a few more here. Petulant, this is like cantankerous, grumpy. Petulant, cantankerous is more like I would use for an old person. Petulant, I would use for a younger person. Okay, I would say that child is petulant, but I'd say that old man is cantankerous. Both are grumpy, but these have a little bit different feel. Incongruous means inconsistent, not matching. It doesn't make sense together. And the last one here is calisthenics. Calisthenics is like exercise, but more like stretching and getting your heart going, I think is calisthenics. It could just be stretching or something like that, but it's kind of exercise. That leaves us with our discussion question. Have you ever had a spiritual experience? Pi describes these Hindu spiritual experiences that led him to these Christian spiritual experiences, which led to Muslim spiritual experiences. Have you ever had any spiritual experience that you just couldn't explain, but it was like, wow, there's something out there that's real? And of course, please write your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.